In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at good and bad exercises for low back strengthening. So what you're going to learn, first of all, 3 bad exercises for low back strengthening and why they are bad exercises, and then 4 good exercises for low back strengthening, and again, why they are good exercises. If you want to build low back strength and endurance, please do click the link below and you'll go through to my How to Build Low Back Strength and Endurance 12-week online program. So 3 bad low back strengthening exercises. We're looking at the back extensions, which is this one. So this could be off the floor or it could be off of one of these bits of kit here. Now the main thing with this one is the flexion of the spine. So when we're talking about back extensions, we're talking about the flexion of the spine, and then you've got this Superman type exercise where we will be talking through the extension of the spine. Obviously this one is going through, say, like an extension or full flexion, full extension. This one's going through more of an extension, and this one is going through a lateral flexion. So when we're talking about spine bending exercises, what we're essentially talking about are bad exercises. Certainly if we're putting additional load on them, that's going to make them that much worse. And if we're repeatedly doing it through full flexion and full extension, it's going to make it that much worse. So you put all of that together, and that recipe is moving you towards a problem in the low back. So why are these exercises bad exercises? Well, I've started talking about it, about the posture of the spine and going through full flexion and extension. So what have we got here? So flexion or flexing the spine can damage the discs. Now, if we take it through full flexion and full extension, that's going to be damaging to the discs. If we add more load to that, that's then going to speed up that damage to the discs. So if we can maintain a proper posture of the spine, it's going to be that much more advantageous. We've then got extending the spine, so going into like this position or this position. Now this can be damaging to what's called the facet joints. Now that is the joint between 2 vertebrae. So it's on the back of the spinous and the transverse processes at the back. They have like a sliding little joint, so they're able to move over the top of each other. When we go into that full extension, they can get squashed together. That can then cause inflammation. That can then increase chances of pain and problems in the lower back. Again, lateral flexing can damage the discs. And then muscles don't work best through flexion and extension. So when we're talking about, and I'll come on to this at a later point, but when we go through into flexion, we increase the chances of what's called anterior shear. So that's a vertebra coming off the top. Now obviously it's not going to do that, but the force that is generated when it flexes, that's damaging to the spine. It's the force that's damaging. But when we're in neutral, the muscles contract, they neutralize that force. So we've got various different reasons why different postures of the spine can be damaging to the spine. Now, if we add load to that, that makes it that much worse. So again, we've got to manage what we're doing to the lower back. So what we need to start doing is choosing better exercises, which we're going to look at next, and understand why they're better exercises. Here are 4 better exercises, or 5 better exercises as I've written. You've got bird dog, which is this one here. You've got bridge, this one here. Good morning RDL, which is this one here. And then you've got carries, which is this one here. Now this could be a farmer's carry, as is shown in the image, or you've got like a suitcase carry, or you could rack them, or you could lift them overhead, whichever, but any kind of carry is going to be a useful exercise. So we've got the bird dog here, which again is activating sort of one side of the spine. We then lift the other arm and leg, and we're activating the other side of the spine. So basically what we're doing is we're sort of swapping where the load goes. So again, we're managing the load that goes onto the spine with the bird dog. We're building the glutes with any type of bridging, and then you've got single leg bridging, which is going to be helping stabilize the pelvis, which is then going to again add and help with the spine. But again, with these 2 exercises, we've got to manage the posture. We've got to maintain that neutral posture, which is going to neutralize the anterior shear forces. We've then got good morning RDL. Again, we've got this could be damaging again because of the load that's being used or the posture of the spine. So again, we've got to maintain proper load, we've got to maintain proper posture, and we've got to maintain proper utilization of the exercise with regards to the frequency and the intensity and the duration of the exercise, because again, that can fatigue the muscles and cause its own problems. So we've got to get the dosage right as well. And it's exactly the same with the carries. These are going to be accessing QL muscles down the side here. Obviously, I'm driving them far too big, but they're going to be getting the QL muscles, glute medius, even iliocostalis and longissimus through here. If we're holding it properly, you're going to get deltoid and lats coming down through here, which again is very good for spine stabilization, low back strength, and endurance. So all of these exercises are going to be advantageous because the posture's better, the spine is in a more stable position, the muscles are activating more effectively because they aren't necessarily sort of concentric, eccentric contraction type muscles. They're more static contraction type of muscles. So that's 4 or 5 of the exercises. Again, there are more, but we need to be thinking about these types of exercises rather than the back extensions, the lateral bends, Superman, so on and so forth. So why are these good exercises? Well, as I've mentioned, they help maintain a proper posture. So as I'm going to talk about, there are a number of muscles. You've got sort of glute medius, which would be down here. You've got QL, which would be in here. You've got longissimus, iliocostalis, which would go up here. And you've got lats, which is going to come down here. Now, what are all these muscles doing? If we can maintain that posture, we can activate the muscles that much better. So what are these muscles doing? Well, what these muscles do is effectively, if I just draw one anchor point there, one anchor point there, we've got muscles that anchor, or we've got muscles that anchor to, or sorry, we've got the vertebra that anchor to these muscles. And obviously we've got anchors up here as well. So what they are doing is when the muscles contract, they anchor down to these points, and basically we are able to hold the spine into position much more effectively. So as I mentioned, the muscles are more static contraction type exercises. That's because they anchor to a point and they hold the spine upright, if you will. So that is, in some respects, one of the primary functions of the spine, is to keep it upright. Now, when we're talking about anterior shears, we're going to be talking about then the spine sort of bending as well, which we'll look at, sorry, not the spine bending, but the hips hinging, I should say. So we'll talk about it in a slightly different way. So you can see here that I am over in a sort of a deadlift type position. I've got my hips hinged. I've got my spine in position, although you can't see it in this diagram. But I've put this at a 45-degree angle so you can kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about. So the anterior shear, as I've mentioned, is where you've got L5 here and L4 here. So if the anterior shear force had its way, L4 would fall off the top of L5. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen. There are many different tissues in the way that's going to prevent that from happening. But the force that is being encouraged is sort of dragging it forward. So when we maintain this position here, and as we come over here, these anchor points that I've talked about, above and below the spine, are essentially neutralizing that force and holding these vertebrae in place, holding the lower back up. So what we need to be able to do is get these muscles activating in a way, using those good exercises to be able to hold the posture of the spine, which is then going to sort of maintain the health and the fitness of the spine much more effectively, and certainly for a longer period of time. So we need to start thinking about how we use the spine, how we dose the exercises, but most importantly, the exercises that we use, because some of the exercises, as I've described, are more advantageous than others. And what these exercises are going to do, and the right dosage and the right posture is going to do, is overall maintain a better spine stability over time, which is what strength endurance is. Strength is the ability to hold the posture, and then the endurance is the ability to hold that posture over a period of time. So to summarize what we've gone through, the bad exercises, back extensions, side bends, and supermen, basically anything that bends the spine under load. Then why? Flexing can damage the disc, extension can damage the facet joints, lateral flexing the discs again, and the muscles don't work best through that flexion extension cycle. They're more isometric style exercises. Then you've got good exercises, bird dog, bridge, good morning RDL, and carries, which are basically aligning with using the spine properly as long as we're dosing it properly. And then why are they good? They hold the spine upright, they neutralize the anterior shear, and then also they overall just maintain better spine stability over time. If you've enjoyed this content, please do hit the like button. If you've learned something new, hit the thanks button. If you want to watch more of these videos, hit the subscribe button. And if you've got a question or a comment, please leave it below and I'll do my best to answer it as quickly as possible.